Hi, I'm Dana Martens, and welcome to my thesis project, Unum, the blockchain for the maker movement. So when the internet first came out, it radically democratized information and allowed lots of people to create and share digital content person to person, or peer to peer. But when it came to sharing assets of value like money and intellectual property, the internet really wasn't that helpful. And this is because there was no way to tell who was who online, meaning that there's no way to trust each other to exchange value digitally. And as a result, we've had to exchange money and assets with third parties like banks, like platforms and apps like Venmo, and like credit cards to act as this trusted intermediary every time we want to exchange something of value. And while this seems innocuous, the result, our so-called sharing economy, is actually an aggregating economy, where a handful of these intermediaries coordinate most of the consumer and producer behavior, extracting a toll in information for every single transaction that we make. And I think this is ridiculous. The most ridiculous part is that this model has become so pervasive, so all-encompassing, that we can't even imagine how our digital future will look any different. But my mission is to help people do just this, to imagine an alternative paradigm, and a new future where the only alternatives to this platform capitalism isn't just the apocalypse. And so what I found during my thesis research is that one of these alternative futures is already here. It's just not yet distributed. And this future is called the blockchain protocol, or as a lot of people call it, the trust protocol. Now, the blockchain is basically just one big global distributed ledger that runs on millions of computers instead of one server. But using this protocol, any asset, from money to intellectual property, can be stored and moved and exchanged and managed via smart contracts online, all without any powerful intermediaries. And this is important because for the first time in history, people everywhere can anonymously trust one another online through a little bit of collaboration, some cryptography, and some clever code. And while the blockchain is known for this cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, it actually has the potential to transform almost any industry. And it can also power the next wave of the internet revolution that's happening today. We've already learned that once things can be done with the computer, they can be done by almost anyone. And digital design and fabrication, or the creation of physical goods from digital information, is no different. Already a single person can create clothing, electronics, and furniture that it would have taken a factory to produce just 10 years ago. So just like the internet did for digital information, these tools have begun to decentralize and democratize how we fund, design, produce, and exchange physical products. And the resulting makers movement is creating huge opportunities across the country and the world for fab labs, maker centers, and hacker spaces to really redefine manufacturing and to blur the lines between the traditional divisions of labor and capital between employee and artisan. But while a lot of these makers are indeed becoming micro-manufacturers, the problem is that there's no viable framework. There's no rule set to help them collaborate globally with designers and to connect to customers without intermediaries like Shapeways, or by making the designs completely open source through this non-commercial licensing like at AppFab and OpenDesk. My thesis is that we can use the blockchain protocol to lay this foundation and to create a new network that can make distributed manufacturing a viable reality for our future. Welcome to Unum, a proof of concept blockchain for the maker movement. So Unum is a distributed manufacturing platform and web store that uses blockchain smart contracts to connect designers, makers, and customers together in trusted peer-to-peer relationships without intermediaries. And this is how it works. Imagine you need to buy a chair today. You might go to IKEA, or you might order it offline through some dumb retailer like Wayfair.com. But wherever you buy from, you probably don't know where the materials came from, who designed it, or where and how it was actually made. You could say that your chair's production history or its supply chain is a total black box. Now imagine that instead you go to the Unum store, an online shop featuring hundreds of designs from all over the world. You find something you like from a designer in Korea, and Unum shows you all of the local maker centers who have the tools, materials, and capacity to produce it for you. Unum also allows you to customize certain features like the size of the chair and the materials before it's produced. The chair is fabricated by your selected maker and embedded with the Unum seal before delivery, an NFC-enabled technology that gives the product a unique physical identifier that ties it back to its digital manufacturing thread on the blockchain forever. This seal makes every product's supply chain completely transparent for customers, allowing them to see everyone who contributed to its creation. So as you can see, Unum allows customers to get globally designed products made locally. But it also lets designers have a global distribution channel, and the blockchain makes sure they're compensated every time their design's used. It can even allow remixing of designs or collaboration between one or more designers and pay everyone out automatically. For makers, Unum finally allows truly on-demand production to be possible, one of the biggest issues cited during my research with people who work in this network today. The platform actually incentivizes makers to prototype new designs and share their processes with others, with the blockchain ensuring they're paid out each time a product that uses their manufacturing information is produced, even if they're not the ones doing it. But most importantly, Unum helps communities. By enabling on-demand manufacturing where production is located around consumers, Unum supports local and regional economies, where value is circulated rather than extracted from consumer purchases. This keeps local money local, promotes responsible and sustainable manufacturing, and creates lucrative employment opportunities when taken to scale. To test how this could work in practice, I created a product from start to finish using the Unum process this semester. The customer experience was also tested through an interactive prototype of the Unum web store where users could customize and order a product and assemble it from the provided instructions. In order to validate how the business model would work, I conducted several expert interviews with makers and micro-manufacturers to understand how they do their work. Students and faculty from Parsons Product and Industrial Design were also consulted to understand their needs and recruit designers for the Unum web store. Right now, using insights from this prototype and research, I'm drafting a white paper that explores how the blockchain can support the maker movement more broadly, and I'll be presenting this work at the upcoming symposium. Also, while Unum's really great for any product, I wanted to test it in practice, and I'm collaborating with Audrey Fox to curate an initial set of designs and create an online web store and brand for our business. Unum's unique business model has already been submitted to the Buckminster Design Fuller competition and will be on full display at the upcoming interactive showcase where you can see products, furniture, and technology demos on hand to see how it works. So at the end of the day, Unum is really about the future I want to live in. I want a future where I can collaborate with people directly, and where the internet revolution hasn't faded, where decentralization finally extends to our economy, empowering people to have more meaningful and sustainable relationships with each other, their products, and their world. And if you also believe in this future, a future where trust and convenience don't come with the price tag of sacrificing our data, our privacy, and our democracy, then I urge you to join me at the thesis show and learn more about how the power of the blockchain can revolutionize your future as well. Thank you. 8:15.
All right, I think it's my turn.